guys, my name is Dasha. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to May's round of A Game of Tomes, my monthly TBR game. I'm so excited to do this month's round because, spoiler alert, April was hot flaming trash. I had a bunch of school stuff to do. I barely got through my TBR, so I'm like, let us do this over because last month was horrific. So I'm excited to see what we got in store, but first let's go over April's terrible TBR. So this was the very hefty stack of books I had to read in April, plus one that was on ebook that I borrowed from my library, Humans. And of these 5 books, I finished 2. Hear me out. Exam season, final papers, I miscalculated and thought I would have more time to read because I was like, well, of course I'm gonna need to take breaks from studying. She did not need to take breaks from studying. She did not take many breaks from studying. And so as a result, the only book from this stack that I have actually finished is The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, and I needed to finish this for a paper I was writing anyways, so that's what got finished. And I also finished Humans, A Brief History of How We Fucked It All Up. I don't think I will be doing a wrap-up for April specifically because of how not much reading I got done, so I think I might combine it with May, depending on how that goes, so you will see my thoughts on those 2 books in that coming wrap-up. But yeah, it was just not a great reading month, so hopefully this month goes better. So then the question becomes, do I give myself a punishment? Because it was like the first month and I had school, so it wasn't really my fault. And I think what I will end up doing, especially in this case, is I still do need to kind of punish myself. So I'm gonna move back 3 spaces, 1 for each book I did not complete on the board, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. I don't want to be too hard on myself because like school, it wasn't really my fault. So I think that is the best thing to do. And going forward, if I find that I'm really like fucking up constantly, I will reassess and see if I need like an actual punishment for not completing my TBR. But this month, I think I'm just gonna move back 3 and move forward because I'll definitely be able to read a lot more this month and hopefully actually get through a TBR. Also, I don't want to put any books from my last month's TBR on this TBR. I feel like that would be super boring for you guys to watch just the same books get pulled up over and over again for different prompts. So I'm gonna finish the ones that I had started on my own off the TBR if I kind of have some room, but I'm gonna prioritize obviously this TBR. And so there won't be any repeats. That's super not fun to watch, I promise you. One other thing before we get into the roles, I have a few like buddy reads and readathons I want to participate in, so I'm hoping I can fit those books into this TBR. If I do, I absolutely will announce like what they're for. But yeah, this month I actually have stuff that I want to try to like fit into the TBR, so we'll see how that goes. I'm quite curious to see if the board will be kind to me and if I'll be able to fit those books in. So let's get right into the first roll. All right, so here we are at the same spot as we ended up last time on the character card. However, as I mentioned, because I failed to complete last month's TBR, I'm going to move myself back as a little punishment. So we're gonna go back 1, 2, 3 spots for every book I didn't read last month. Roll number 1, 2. 1, 2, and we have landed on House Martell. Ooh! So we've got our little jar for all the House Martell prompts. Let's go ahead and pick one. All right. DNF video. Ooh! So roll number 1, let us pick from the little jar, and I got the prompt for a DNF video, which basically means I'm gonna go to my YouTube, I'm gonna find someone's video of books they DNF'd, and I'm going to pick a book from that list. Kinda scary, not gonna lie. There we go, so we're gonna screen record my iPad so you guys can see that I'm actually, you know, doing the correct thing. Books I did not finish. I don't watch some of these people. Ooh, you know what? We're gonna do books with Emily Fox. Not a romance person, we're gonna skip the kiss quotient. I've heard good things about Paul Tremblay, so maybe. I'll throw you a like there. Oh, no, not interested in Nosferatu. Where the Crawdads? Yeah. Ooh, the Raven Cycle. Now there's another one. I've heard very good things. Never heard of that. Okay. So, she's got two things I'm kind of interested in. A Paul Tremblay book and the Raven Cycle. So I'm gonna see which one I actually have available to me to read. Okay, so based off of availability and my mood, I think I'm gonna go with Paul Tremblay's Growing Things, which is a horror anthology. It's got a bunch of, no, not anthology. Is it an anthology? It's a collection of his own short stories that are all in the horror genre. I know nothing more about it, and that's kind of fun. I know Paul Tremblay is like a hit or miss author for a lot of people, so I'm curious to see where I stand. I don't know if a short story collection is the best place to start with his works, because I don't read a lot of short story collections, but I'm kind of in the mood for horror, so I'm hoping that this scratches that itch. And I'm definitely a lot more in a horror mood than like a YA fantasy, so we're gonna go with Growing Things for our first pick. All right, roll number 2. 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Location card.
Hi Garden, read a book with nature on the cover. So this can be anything found in nature, it just has to be on the cover of the book, and it has to be an owned book. And so our next prompt was a location card, which means a book from my owned TBR, and the prompt was to read a book with nature on the cover. So I picked The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. There are trees on the cover. There's a girl. Girls are in nature. The reason I am going to do this as well is because I want to participate in the Breath of the Wild-a-thon, which is a readathon based around Breath of the Wild, which is probably my favorite video game. And I'm just like, I was super pumped that someone started one and I wanted to participate. And so this fulfills the prompt for that readathon for a book with wintry vibes, because this isn't like, everyone recommends this for winter book recommendations. So from what I understand, we follow our main character, Vasilisa, who is a young girl, and she's living in this like small village, and she can actually converse with her village's folk spirits. But the problem is her dad gets a new wife who is a devout Christian, and her Christianity threatens these little spirits. If these little spirits disappear, the town is threatened because like negative evil spirits can come in and basically fuck everything up. So I've heard fantastic things about this. I am really, really excited to get to it. I like that it's also pretty short for a fantasy. That is really good. So I'm excited to read this. All right, roll number 3. 5. Man, we're moving through this board.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Character card.
Not another one. Sir Bronn. He's always been an insolent, black-hearted rogue. That's what I liked about him. So Bronn is Tyrion's sellsword, which is why we're going with a House Lannister theme, and so we'll do a random number generator for my thriller mystery TBR. I'm getting kind of tired of not having any say in my TBR, for fuck's sake. All right, so our third roll got us a character card, and we pulled Bronn, our little sellsword. And his prompt was to go to a random number generator and find a book for my thriller mystery TBR that fits that number. Well, fits that number. That is that number like on the list. So I'm gonna come behind my phone that's filming, and we're gonna do that right now. All right, so my thriller mystery TBR has 48 books on it. So we're gonna go punch that in. 11, okay, that's nice and easy. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Death in the Family by Tessa Wiggert. Perfect, my library has a copy and I have the audiobook on Scribd, so I will be reading A Death in the Family by Tessa Wiggert. I like going into my thrillers and mysteries completely blind, but That's not really nice to you guys, so I'm gonna go over the synopsis really quickly. So I guess she's an investigator that used to live in New York City, and so she decides to go and move to her fiance's hometown, and then she's kind of, you know, slowly getting back into the swing of things, and then she gets called out to this island where there was like a missing man, but when they get there, they're not sure if it is actually a missing man or a murder, and so they're kind of investigating, something feels a little off, and then a big old storm hits. So this sounds pretty fun. I like thrillers to kind of break things up between like big fantasy books or even like the horror that I have already on my TBR. So this is gonna be really good, I think, to just kind of get through something quickly. You know, I can listen to the audiobook going for a walk or doing admin stuff at work. So that is perfect. I love listening to thrillers on audiobook. I feel like they're perfect. You know, you don't need to focus too much, but you can still kind of get the gist of the story, and it sounds like someone's telling you like a really exciting mystery. So that is what I will be reading. All right, roll number 4. 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, battle card. All right, count my monthly hauled books. Depending on the number of books I hauled in the last month, I move up or down. Ooh, let me think. All right, so I've purchased 2 books in the month of April, but I gave both of those away in a giveaway. It was 2 copies of Rule of Wolves. So according to this, I move up 3 if I bought 3 or less books. So
1, 2, 3.
And now we roll again. Roll number 4, take 2 to actually get a book on the TBR.
1. And we get another location card.
And we got River Run. So this is an owned book that is about or features war. Oh, that should be pretty easy. All right. And then our real roll 4 gave us a location card, and the prompt was to read a book about or featuring war for the Castle of River Run. And so for this prompt, I will be reading Carthage Must Be Destroyed by Richard Miles. This is a very detailed look at the city of Carthage, which was, of course, Rome's opponent during the Punic Wars. I just wanted to get a better background of the city because it feels like every time, I mean, they do say history is written by the victors, but it feels like all of the discourse around the Punic Wars focuses either on just military stuff or just on Rome's brutal victories. So I was really curious to get a background of the actual city of Carthage. I have started reading this book. I started it months ago. Like, I have been slowly kind of picking it up, and then I'm like, oh, I don't really want to read it. So hopefully this month I can just get through this whole thing and actually finally finish it. It's been on my shelves forever, and I'm like, just fucking read it. And of course, because Carthage was involved in the Punic Wars with Rome, this book does feature war and is partially about a war, so it fulfills that prompt perfectly. This also fulfills the prompt for the Breath of Wildathon for read a book that you are drawn to, because obviously I am drawn to this book. I bought it on a whim without hearing any reviews because I wasn't even on like the bookish internet at that time. I am still drawn to it because when I read it, I'm super immersed in it. I just keep forgetting to pick it up. So I'm gonna count this as a book that I am drawn to because I am. I'm just really bad at finishing any books. All right, and on to our last roll. 3.
1, 2, 3.
We landed on Targaryen, which is the prompt to just read any fantasy. That is absolutely perfect. And for our final roll, we've landed on House Targaryen, which is just this prompt to read a fantasy, which is perfect. Me and Ray are buddy reading The Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas this month. Neither of us have ever read it. I don't think Ray's read any Sarah J. Maas, if I'm not mistaken. And so we're kind of excited to get into it. This is a very popular young adult fantasy, and I know not much more than that. I think there's like a female assassin and she's chosen to like fight in this arena. I'm just excited to read this with Ray because both of us are like pretty harsh critics when it comes to very tropey YA books. It's just fun to like shit all over them. I know it's not nice. It's just fun though, you know? It's like a little dish session. It's great. So if we both like it or one of us likes it, great. That means we like the book. If neither of us like it, at least both of us will be able to shit on it together. It's great. The other thing that's great about this book is that it fits the prompt for the Breath of the Wildathon, which is read an action-packed book set in a land far, far away. This is an action-packed book set in a fantasyland. So I'm gonna count that for that. And that is my whole TBR for the Breath of Wildathon. So these are the 2 physical books that I will be reading this month for my TBR, along with the 3 books, Throne of Glass, Growing Things, and Death in the Family. I forgot the name for a second. Those 3 are through the library or through Scribd. Additionally, I will be reading some other books that I was not able to quite fit into the TBR, so I'll just quickly go over those here because this is a May TBR after all. I will be reading The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan for the Gilmore Girls Book Club. As some of you might know, because I think I mentioned it in one of my end of the year videos, I kind of wanted to start like either just a Rory Gilmore reading challenge on my channel or like maybe even a book club, but someone beat me to the punch, so I will instead just be supporting them and participating in that book club. I will link all of their info down below so you can check it out if you are interested, but basically they're just going to be reading all the books that are either referenced or pictured in the Gilmore Girls TV show, and the first book is Joy Luck Club, so I will absolutely be reading that. And I am hoping to finish A Dance with Dragons that I started last month. I actually did start it, and I got a little bit into it. I'm about a bit less than a third of the way into it, so I would like to maybe finish it. Again, I will be prioritizing the actual TBR books, but you know, if this is what I'm in the mood for, I might continue it. That's all. And finally, one of the books from my 2021 TBR is out from the library. The hold just came in today and it's Freakonomics. And I'll link the video where I talk about it because I kind of explain it a little bit better. But basically it's just like an economist explores the correlation between 2 seemingly unrelated topics, and it seems super interesting, and it's a really quick read. And again, it's on my 2021 TBR, so since it came in from the library, I'm going to try to get around to it, and hopefully I'm able to because I am really excited for that one. And so that is it. If you have read any of these books, please let me know what you think of them. I love kind of having people's opinion before going into books, so that is kind of also part of the goal of doing these TBRs. My social media is linked down below. You guys can always come talk to me there. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye!